Hi. I'm reflecting on the weekend and I'm noticing something that I noticed actually about myself a couple of weekends ago when I had this incredible conversation with my partner Mo and divulged something that I was scared to share with her, and she was so gracious and accepting with me, and it was such an experience of love touching a place inside that was really raw and really tender, and after it I felt so raw and emotional and exhausted, and it was a strange feeling to feel like that, and I'm having the same feeling right now. It's been a really great weekend. There have been some incredible things this weekend, and I want to share all of them, but the odd thing for me is that I felt so tired today and so uneasy. I was at the store and it was almost like anxiety that I was having to breathe through. And it was just so odd because it's like been a great weekend. It's been really, there have been some amazing things. One of the things that I was deeply touched by was that, so Friday night is my partner and I, was our date night, and we um, have for a few years now had a tradition of going and looking at Christmas lights and listening to classic Christmas music, and we we're gonna do that. And she said, we should invite Shay. Well, so Shay is my son's mother. She's my roommate currently. She is the woman that I was married to for 20 years. And, it's unconventional for, I think, a lot of people to see, that my partner doesn't live with me, my ex wife does. And the two of them continue to show up for each other, um, look out for each other, do things for each other. And Mo just completely unprompted, she just was like, let's invite Shay to come with us. So we invited her and she came and looked at Christmas lights with us, and we went through Starbucks and got um whatever our favorite Starbucks was gonna be. For me that was peppermint mocha. Um Mo got the hot chocolate, Shay got the pumpkin steamer. And we drove around and looked at Christmas lights and listened to Christmas music. And for me, the just the feeling of peace in the car and the harmony and just moving past the program of that those two women have to be at odds with each other and have to find fault with each other and have to have, contention between each other, which is the common thing, I think, and it would be understandable if that was what it was, but it's not. And I feel so lucky. Um, every time either one of them does something to just show kindness towards each other, I just am grateful. And and I recognize that it is rare, you don't see that a lot. So um so that was really something. And of, over the weekend, I've just kept feeling gratitude for that. And then um, had my interview with Kyra, who, if you've listened to me at all, you know how much I adore her and how much she means to me. And we had a great conversation about a topic that I guess I might as well say is it's this upcoming series that I'm doing on the podcast. The topic is the eroticism of infidelity. And that's a topic that, I first started writing about that in 2020. I wrote under the pen name Emil Patterson, and I published a series under that pen name that was this very long story that was a love story, but very unconventional love story about a woman who cheated on her husband. And, it was dark, it was kind of twisted, it was erotic fiction, it was very X-rated. And I told kind of a select group of people on Facebook. At the time, I had a short list of people on Facebook that I felt that I could probably tell anything to. And I told them, and I posted on Facebook to that small list, but it was a fraction of my Facebook friends. Um, and then of course, I had a mailing list of people who found me as Emil Patterson and had no idea who I really was. And so I had this like split way I was showing up in the world, and this what kind of felt had its own darkness to it, that it was just like I felt like it was a secret identity that I had as this writer. And then, for most people who knew me had no idea that I was writing those books. And so um doing this podcast series is a it's a step that I'm taking into just merging, the two, what really has always been one Marvin, but um not like living under aliases and split, showing up one way in one setting and another way in another. I'm really endeavoring to not do that and to be the same everywhere to everyone. And so on the podcast, I'm diving into the topic of infidelity and the eroticism of it. Um, and, there are some women that I've interviewed who are currently engaging in some form of infidelity. And I'm very grateful for those women being, willing to come on the show and talk about what they have done, what they are doing. And, my feeling about them is, I mean, it's layered, but it's so much love for them. It's no judgment of them. It's gratitude for them being willing to be seen and to to share that side of them. And but I knew that, to dive into that topic, I wanted to have something for anyone who came to that series who has been betrayed. And I don't feel like I have that peace. I haven't had that experience. I don't feel like I have any kind of authority to speak to that because I just it would be like saying something to someone who is grieving the loss of a loved one when I haven't been through that. I think it would just be so shallow and hollow and pointless. And invalidating, and so I did not want to even begin to try, but I also didn't want to just, like, have this, like, cavalier dismissal of the fact that there's people that have experienced that, and it's devastating for them, and so, um, I needed help, and I knew that there was one person that was the right person, but I was scared to ask her, and, I mean, Kyra said yes, and she was amazing. We had a great conversation about it. I really think she's is and was the perfect person to open that conversation with me. So I'm going to be working on, lots of editing and getting it ready to air. But that was another thing that, like, amazing. Um, because for me, that is a deep pocket of shame that I have carried about the fact that that is erotic to me, and I've written about it, and it's, I mean, of the things that really stimulate my, um, sexual thoughts and feelings as a fantasy, um, not me cheating, but a woman doing it, or a woman choosing to be involved with someone sexually that they know is in a relationship and that it's not, ethical. It's not above board and they choose that. I mean, these are things that are really erotic for me. And I, have felt like, what the hell is wrong with me? um, and ashamed of it. And and I know that a lot of people are going to hear that, see that, and they're gonna think something is seriously wrong with you, and that's they are totally entitled to see it that way, but, for me, I feel like the path for me is to learn to love myself and to embrace this wiring that I have and to find the beauty in it and to let the love of God flow through it and be, um, to channel to people who need to receive it. And I have been lucky. I mean, I feel really blessed that there's been women in my life who have done that and have felt safe with me for whatever reason, to let me know and to share that filthy little secret with me. Um, So yeah, so that's coming on the podcast, and that was the conversation with Kyra, that we opened up was to talk about that. And of course, she comes from, you know, um, a place of authority. She has experienced infidelity, being cheated on, and um, she has some very powerful things to say about, you know, for the person who's experienced that, a path of hope, really. So those are things that I had no place to say, but she really does. So yeah. Um, and yet, after the conversation, I was like, it's weird. This part of some part of me is not ready. And my body does not feel ready to 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 be safe and who I am and who I'm stepping out in authenticity and being met with, partnerships and collaboration and acceptance and support. And um, it's like my body after experiencing it is like, I need to go to bed. and, had the same experience again today. I had a just a beautiful interview with Aranya, who has been on the podcast before. She was returning because she has a new, just amazing, amazing story that I'm looking forward to, editing it. We talked for an hour and a half and could have kept talking. It was such a deep conversation on the topic of she had a gangbang. And it was, I mean, to hear her talk about it, it just was magical and powerful. And, um, I mean, but anyway, that will be an episode that I'll be editing and releasing hopefully soon. But again, I mean, after it, I was like, I actually did take a nap. Somehow my energy, I don't know. It's like these are developments in my life that somehow my body just doesn't know what to do with it. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is, but I have been very tired. Very tired. I did work out today and Friday night, and I have started doing, I mean, you may have seen Naughty Girl Fitness. It's kind of an aerobic program, and the woman, her name's Janelle. I can't remember her last name, but she, is a very talented choreographer, and but she put this program together, and the first time I did the workouts, one of the workouts, I just cried all the way through it because it didn't feel like exercise really. It felt like embracing my sexual energy. It felt like leaning against shame and just moving my body in a way that was just loving my sexual energy, loving that part of myself, and doing it with these people who've put this program together who are doing the same thing. And um very conscious, very like the way that they talk about the workout as they all sound like people who meditate regularly and believe in um, the oneness of all of us, and so just to, and as she even said in one of the videos, was talking about the harmony between sexuality and spirituality, that she believed in that deeply, and that's something that has been a lifelong journey for me, of the marriage of those two things, and not seeing them as somehow polar opposites, but actually being harmony, notes and accord. And so um but Naughty Girl Fitness has that vibe to it. It's very, I mean, that's my experience of it anyway. So, that's my new workout routine, is I'm doing the Naughty Girl Fitness videos, and it's, I get in there in front of my computer and attempt to, and then, I mean, for me right now, it's kind of awkward because my body is not used to these movements. But I mean, as I continue to do it, I'm sure I'll get more comfortable and better at them. But anyway, yeah. So that's been my weekend, and as I have felt this fatigue and definitely my energy moving, um, even as I'm sitting here right now. I mean, this is very common for me, ever since I started doing Kundalini work with Dawn Huang, that I feel my energy moving all the time. But I mean, even right now, it's pulsing, and like up my spine, from the base of my spine up to the back of my head, right, back here. That's like this want want feeling in my head, and right at where my pineal gland is. It's like a pulsing feeling. But she teaches this mantra of I surrender with the flow and let it go. And sometimes it feels a little bit like if you've ever seen the movie Dune, when they're Timothy Chalamet's character Paul Atreides and his mom are flying into the storm, and he sees this vision of this guy who's telling him, we must surrender with the flow, and they're flying into a storm that's like tearing their plane apart. Um, but it does turn out, in the movie that that was the right path and that they were carried to their destiny. And but that is sometimes for me what surrendering with the flow sort of feels like, is that I'm in a storm. And the weird thing is that this weekend the storm was these amazing things happening and me just, I don't know, my body's wanted to shut down and just rest. And so I am about to do that. But it's just interesting, this, process of growing and stepping into alignment with my authentic self and my purpose, and how the body sometimes has a hard time coping with that, I guess. So anyway, um, if you're watching, if you see this later, hope this finds you well. Hope you have a good night. We're all headed into a new week, new things for us, and it's all part of this journey that we're on together. So deeply important and purposeful, and yeah, hope you're blessed. I wish you blessing for the week, and I'll be talking to you soon. Good night.